course, best athletes in the world, and we have a treat for you today. 11A finals. The athletes have been mostly on the water this morning in semi-finals. Heats were yesterday, and we really have ideal conditions. We saw a couple of the world's fastest times yesterday. I'm not sure it's going to happen today because there's absolutely no wind at all. This is the courses that we're going to be looking forward to, and you can see this is ours Central European time, so it's now our time 11:30. The guests, Ian Ross, did such a good job yesterday on the canoe category. We've asked him back, and which is great because he's actually racing a bit later in the 5,000 meters. And Kat MacArthur, we're going to try and find out about how it's like winning your first medal. Hello.
Hello.
This is the overhead picture, and it shows it's a very long track. 1,000 meters is going to be the longest ever event, but we're not using that today. And the start list for the K1 200 meters, and it's packed with talent, isn't it? Marta Voltakiewicz has been around for many, many years. Has she lost it though? Because we saw Emma Jorgensen win last week. Anna Osterman obviously is in there. Lina Stinsels is looking really good. She won the 500 meters yesterday. Someone who's been in this event this morning. Kat, how do you see it?
Yeah, it's a really good morning out there actually. It's really flat and, beautiful conditions. It's not as fast as yesterday, but, again, it's fair across the board, so I think we're going to see some really, really good racing.
Jess Walker, Olympic Games, she's about 12, I think, when she was in Beijing. Maybe just 18, but really sort of coming back into it now. And she's obviously on form, had a good result last weekend, made the final. So last weekend was Szeged, which I'll be referring to quite often. This weekend is Duisburg. These are two of the classic tracks we're actually looking at the moment. Dominika from Poland, perhaps one of the youngsters coming through. We haven't seen her that much in the last few years. Going through them. We're going to see Sarah Guyot. Now Sarah's going in all the events, I think, as far as I can understand this weekend. She's had a second and a third so far in the K2 500. She was just behind the Flying New Zealanders and the K1. Marta Voltakiewicz. So many second places to Lisa Carrington. She looks delighted that she's not competing today, but she's struggled in the last year, so made one podium last year, but a huge force to behold with, often the first off the blocks. There's Sarah. She's really, really been good for the last 4 or 5 years now. The French have quite a large team coming over this weekend, which is good to see. The Europeans, a lot of athletes going to be concentrating on that, and that's in 2 weeks' time in Belgrade. World Championships, clearly the highlight of the year. Anna Osterman, where does she train?
She's Slovenian, but we actually had her visiting Australia for a while on the Gold Coast with us. So same with Linnea, who's in lane 6. So it'd be good to see some token. We'll claim them as Aussies.
Well, Linnea was on form. I think she had a debut victory yesterday in the 500 meters. So she's like quite a few athletes now, being known as a double champion. And Emma Jorgensen, she won last weekend. She said she was surprised. She's main priority is going to be towards Tokyo. She obviously makes the cut with the 500 meters, where she took the silver medal in a very exciting race in Rio, but obviously rather good as well. And here's Linnea, who's really become a top athlete in the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, she's definitely really shone herself, I guess, in the last couple of years, and lovely girl too, so she's great to train with and such a good athlete.
And finally, Ivana Matkova from Slovakia, who's put some blistering times down in some of the heats. So 9 athletes, about probably 39-40 seconds of activity. What is the mental thing? And sorry, we can't leave out Kylie Emery. I believe she's making a debut in the 200 meters in a final.
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen her race with the K1 before, but she's always been strong in the team boats, as all the Kiwi girls are. But it looks like they've sort of swapped up the K1 Kiwi entries this last couple of weeks. It's good to see a different mix because they all are still performing pretty quick.
Well, last week clearly she won the gold in the K2 500, and this week they put Caitlin to take a bit. So they really are. These are the flyers, and that's Marta Voltakiewicz's boat. Yep, there she goes. She's a fast starter, and she has lane 5, which means she's one of the quickest qualifiers. And again, she's really out there. And Emma Jorgensen is also out there quickly.
Start.
But look at the speed of the paddling.
Yeah, you'll see here Linnea's really pushing through, really strong back end. You see that through her 500 victory. She's fit, she's strong, she's got great technique.
Well, 2 boats are pulling away from the field. It's Marta Voltakiewicz from Poland in pink, from Linnea in white. Looks like she's really coming through. Sarah Guyot from France is still in there.
Emma Jorgensen's coming up as well.
Well, 30 metres to the line, and it looks like Marta Voltakiewicz is going to get her debut victory this season. What a great result.
Third is going to be a close one.
Well, absolutely delighted. Hand gaze up in the air. That's taken a bit of pressure off.
Excellent racing. She seems pretty happy with that one.
Well, she's looking really, I mean, she always looks strong, but she's looking very strong this year.
Yep. Very, very strong performance.
Always known for being fourth. She's I think this might be a change because she's broken through a psychological barrier. Just to really, I was looking forward, surprising her results. The top result was a third last year.
Yeah, sometimes it's all it is, just one race. It just flicks the switch for you.
Well, they all came off to a clear start. It's not quite mill pond, but it looks fairly good conditions.
Very good conditions, yeah. I mean, we're not seeing maybe world fastest times out there, but we're seeing some very strong performances. Don't know who got third there, but...
We have a virtual line, so it's not like athletics where the athletes go through a ribbon.
Yeah.
It's where they have to, I guess instinctively, you have a good idea of where it is.
Roughly, yeah. You see on the live stream as well, but sometimes, I mean, the courses change. Sometimes it's before the boys, sometimes it's after. Oh.
Anyway, Marta Voltakiewicz, 39.989 takes the gold for Poland. Linnea Stenzel, silver for Sweden. And Sarah Goyer just came through, kept it, edging out Emma Jorgensen. So Sarah takes third and Emma fourth.
Very, very tight racing.
So we're coming to you live from Duisburg. Marta's English is getting better all the time. So Ross from the media of ICS is going to try and get a couple of words out of her.
Good to see you back winning races again. How good does it feel for you today?
I am very happy because I don't remember when I win, maybe few years ago. So now I'm very happy because now I'm thinking about the European champion.
Congratulations, what a great result today.
Thank you so much.
Well done. So clearly delighted, first victory for several years. And what I admire most about it is the heart's still pumping at 190 a minute, and then you've got Ross asking you a question. It's in his third language, and but she's very well there.
Yeah, it's hard. The 200's a bit shorter than some of the other events, but you still get quite out of breath there.
And like you yesterday, was it the day before? No, I can't remember. It was Friday evening, wasn't it, when you did your bronze?
Oh, the 1,000. Oh God, nothing stings as much as 1,000, I think.
This is for Ian Ross. Here we go. The C1 200 meter A final. Even Steele, he's been around so long. Stefan Kyrie, who's been playing in lots of different events. Jan Vondrik, as we all remember, he won the K2 1000 with Sebastian Brendel in Rio. Good to see a couple of Chinese athletes in there. And also we have Adel Mojalhamid from Iran, who's had a couple of medals in the last year or so.
Yeah, and Takaroni Tome from Japan, and there's another Japanese athlete in there as well. So this should be a pretty tight race, I think. Both German boats are quite fast and very similar in speed. There's a chance maybe Ivan could pull it out a little bit off the line, but it's going to be pretty close at the end, I think. There's a good shot at Loic Leonard from France.
What's key here? Is it the start or the finish, or just putting it all together?
Yeah, I think 200 is really about putting it all together. It's just so short that you really have to, if you miss one stroke, you're losing a place pretty much. So everything really has to be on.
And Ivan Shatil, he's been around for at least a decade.
Yeah, he's a fantastic paddler. Very well accomplished in multiple different areas. There's a good shot of Stefan Kyrie. I'm actually rooming with him for the whole summer because he's that nice of a guy. And was a 200 guy, made the amazing switch to 1,000 and was still really, really fast. And now he's doing a 200 again this weekend. So
does that switch around training?
Yeah, and it's very, very difficult going from a 200, especially to 1,000, and now coming back and still trying to have the speed is very, very difficult. So he's quite talented.
And is he up for it today? You got expectations?
Yeah, I think he's looking to really get up in there in the medals. But Jan had a really good race yesterday too. I think he had the second fastest time through the semis.
We had lots of situations yesterday. I'm not putting you on the spot, but do you know if it's a trial for the Europeans?
I don't think for this event. No, it's not. But Adele also is in there from Iran, and he's medaled last year at the World Championships, so he should be pretty hard to deal with for everyone also.
and 2 Chinese athletes. It's great that we've seen a big presence last weekend and this weekend for China.
Yeah, they're going to be very strong because they're going into the Asia Games, which is a very competitive race for them. There's a good shot of Adele getting pumped up for his race.
Well, he's been around for several years now.
Yeah, very elite paddler for the 200-meter races. There's a good shot of Takarani Tome. Me and him actually trained together a bunch in Melbourne, Florida a few years ago. He's a really good guy. More of a 1,000 specialist, but made it into the A final for 200.
And with Tokyo coming up in a couple of years' time, I guess there's going to be a bit of media speculation on him.
I'm sure there is, yeah. I'm sure he's getting a lot of attention at home.
So how does it actually work? You called him with 1 minute to go, or how does the actual call-up come?
Yeah, there's a 3-minute warning where you're kind of supposed to turn around and start moving down to the line, and then at the 1 minute you're supposed to come into the bucket. So they tell you a 1 minute warning.
Psychologically, some of the big players, do they try and go in first or last, or you just doesn't matter?
I think it's kind of a personal preference thing. Some people, like Craig Spence from Canada in the 1,000 meters, likes to get in first. Other people like to kind of hang out and get in there last. But
even Shatil, I've been watching him for the last 7 years. I don't think he's ever worn the same band as two races in a game. He has an amazing collection.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're on the line. 200 meters, Duisburg World Cup C1 200 meters A final.
I expect Ivan is going to have a really, really strong start, and
lane 5.
You'll probably see the Germans start to close the gap at the end, maybe, as well as maybe Adele.
Well, they're all off to a fine start. There's Ivan Shatil he's also a multiple champion in the C2.
Really, really powerful strokes right there. He's using his hips a lot, which is why he's got so much power, and he's really taking half a boat length out on the field right now. It looks like Stefan Kiri's coming in from second place, but he's got a much lower frequency, so he might last a little bit longer than Ivan, but Ivan really has his hips going well. He's really powerful with his legs, and his strokes very long, so he looks very strong.
Coming into the last 30 meters now, and it's Shatil making a complete exhibition of this. Desperately close for second place, but Ivan Shatil takes it for Russia. And who's going to take the second? Maybe 2 or 3 baits in a row.
Yeah, that looked very close between Stefan Kiri, China, Jan Vandre, who's now in the water, and Adele.
But that was a dominant display, wasn't it? From the first 20 meters, he was really saying, this is my race.
Yeah, he really nailed the start, and that was pretty much the end of the race. Jan's standing on the start gates over here. Too tired to swim.
Waiting for the boat to come and pick him up. This is a view of the spectator area. So pretty much all the spectators are in the very smart grandstand with the lawn in front of it. But let's look at the start.
Yeah, it was just a really connected start by Ivan. He just got a little nose right off the first stroke and then just took it out for the rest of the race. But right in the middle here, you can see some of the athletes start to make it up on him. There's a lot of power output for him to get that far out in the beginning. So that looks like Stefan Kiri got second, and no idea for third still.
Well, we'll soon see, but Jan Vandre certainly gave it his all.
Yeah.
And we're talking a second ago about how difficult it is to know where the line is. For you guys lunging, it's even more precise, it's more important.
Yeah, and it all depends on how...
Ivan, that was a very impressive win. How do you feel about that?
Oh, we're racing very good. Duisburg. Yeah.
Congratulations, well done.
I've been speaking to him for the last 6 years, and that's all you ever get out of him. He's always friendly, he always remembers you, and there's obviously the camaraderie between guys who know what they need to go through. We'll see, they speak the great body language.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Second, maybe, yeah, well done.
Yeah.
There is that common language you get between the athletes on the pontoon at the end of the race, and everyone sort of gives their congratulations. It's quite nice.
Because you actually understand what you've actually been through, don't you?
Definitely. I mean,
anyway, here the results. Sorry to cut you off. Shatil takes the gold, Stefan Kiri, silver, and Jan Vandre, bronze, both for Germany.
Yeah, that's really impressive. I mean, Stefan Kiri hasn't raced 200 in 2 years now, so that's pretty impressive.
So when you're rooming with him, he's going to be in a good mood?
Yeah, for sure. He's going to be very happy.
So
there's the for paddle fans. There's obviously
Kiwi girls.
The
getting
Kiwi
ready for
girls.
K2 200. very quick turnaround to there for K4 500 too.
So time for the men, and it's the 200 meters. Olympic vice champion Maxime Beaumont is in lane number 6. Stefan Bird, which he's had a year off, and it's done him a lot of good. And we've got Lukenstov from Russia, who won last week. And the others, it's packed with guys who've been there or thereabouts for many years.
Definitely, you're going to see a very fast race here, but definitely supporting the Aussie in lane 5. Stephen's had a great lead up, and he's took a year off last year, but he's come back pretty headstrong and ready to go.
What you need to look out for Maxime Beaumont, he had an accident and really hurt his ankle in January. Just fell over a curb. Had a long scar, and I was talking to him yesterday, and the challenge is for the first 5 or 6 meters he really can't put all his force down.
I guess coming out of the start, you're basically standing still, and you've got to get the boat moving as quickly as possible and using all the force you can through your feet and your body. And I imagine that all the force taken through those feet on that foot plate would be quite painful for someone who's had an injury recently.
He said that's the case, and it's not going to be the case here, but he lives in the north of France, and when you're in rocky water, that also helps. It's different for the balance as well.
Yep, definitely.
But today we don't have that problem. I suppose is there a slight breeze? We see the flags sort of lazily coming towards us, or will that not really affect it?
Yeah, it's sort of swirling around. It's different out there. Sometimes you get onto the course after being on the warm-up lake and you feel like it's a headwind, and then you turn around and it can be a bit swirly every now and then, but the great thing is the water stays flat, and that makes it a big difference.
It was almost like a river last weekend. There was a bit of a current, I believe.
Yeah, almost.
Yeah, it can be different every 250 out here, but like you said, it very often doesn't affect the water too much, which is nice.
The way the athletes come in, we saw a picture of the pontoon, which is opposite us. It's the other side of the end, so it's like a horseshoe at the end. Anyway, let's go through some of the athletes who are going to be competing now. Felix Koenig, lane number 1. The German strength and depth is really extraordinary. They're probably 5 or 6 athletes who are really there or thereabouts, and you sometimes see them in the K4, the K2. Vuncevich, he's been around many years from Latvia. Right, very large gentleman.
Very strong.
That's for shit. We saw him yesterday.
Momo.
There's a good contingent of Japan coming on. Clearly,
Yeah, you're
with
starting to see a lot more, especially going, I guess, into Tokyo. You're going to start to see a lot more Japanese athletes.
we have all the president of the Japanese federations here. We have the secretary general here, the translators. So there's they're in there going through a sort of a learning experience. Anyway, your 10 seconds on him.
Stephen Bird, great athlete, very methodical, very sensible, and just very composed all the time, but really, really fast. He dominates our domestic season.
Does he have a good coach?
Great coach, Jesse Phillips, his old Double Down Under mate. No, they've been working together really well the last couple of months, and just seeing them, I think they have a great relationship.
We're trying to persuade Jesse Phillips to come back again.
Yeah, well, I don't know, take much.
Maxime Beaumont, as we mentioned, he was the silver medalist in Rio, coming back though from an injury. Lukenstov, maybe a surprise he missed out in the Olympic final, and then in the Worlds I believe he did 4th last year, but he's obviously took the victory last weekend. Liam Heath is here but not here, in the sense of he's only racing the team boats. Simadia from Hungary, they have a young team here, and it's going to be interesting to see their strength of depth as well.
Yeah, it's been a different Hungary contingent here this weekend. I guess after Szeged last weekend, it's different here in Duisburg.
Liberta from Italy. Well, Italy in the last few years, they've had some really good. I remember in Milan when they actually won the 200 metres. The story behind the Szeged is contractually they have to send some people here, but they didn't really want to. And yeah, we have Alex Scott, who looks a little bit like Marty Young, but he's powerful.
Canadians, yeah, very well known for their speed and their start. They get off the start very well, men and women.
The key for the Hungarians is they have their national trials next weekend, so they send, I think, 10, 12 athletes along this weekend.
Yeah, and then Europeans backed up pretty quickly after, so it's a lot of racing for these European athletes.
That's what we want. We want a distinguishable boat. So that's Maxime Beaumont. Anyway, weather conditions look good, and we're going to see them all fly off. Stephen Bird, he's a good starter?
Great starter. I think in this field it's going to be very quick, this A final.
If you recognise an Aussie accent, it's Kat MacArthur, who is joining us through, but he led a bit on the blocks, I thought. Lane number 7, Di Liberto from Italy, had a fast start.
really strong strokes, get that they get that stroke rating up, get out of the blocks, get into their rhythm. They've only got 200 metres to do it, so it's really about getting into their speed as quick as possible.
So Koenigs was going well, but we have in lane number 4, it's the Russian who won last week. He also looks like he's taking the important lead ahead. Lane number 7, we have something to say about it. Liberto, it's going to be desperately close on the line. Oh, it looks like Russia just took it.
Oh, it's always close in the men's 200. There's never much of a gap.
Could that be back-to-back victories?
It's very impressive when athletes have back-to-back 200s because it is so quick, and so I find the gap between first and second place and the chance of being just pipped is quite high, and so to be consistent and every time, I think that's what's been so impressive with someone like Lisa Carrington is her reign has been so strong and consistent over the last 5, 6, 7 years that it's very, very impressive to watch.
Well, De Liberté thinks he's won the Olympic gold, and he may do. That's great to see athletes. Everyone has their own expectations.
Definitely. I mean, you want to perform for yourself, but you want to perform for your country, and you line up there, and everyone else has done the hard yards and got the exact same mentality, but it's who can perform and deliver on the day.
I was focusing mainly on Russia, but for the Aussies out there, Stephen Bird, honourable position.
Very. I think he, very strong lead up into this final and his heat and his semi, and I think to come out, I think that's about 6 or 7. I think he should be very proud. But nothing taking away from that Russian athlete there. Very, very strong performance. I think he's pretty happy too.
Well, that's the job's done. Let's see how his English is.
Still breathing.
Done. Russell, with all his politeness, get out the boat, mate. So what is actually going through your body? Are you just screaming with pain, or what's happening?
Yeah, you're just trying to catch your breath.
Congratulations,
really. I think
another gold
you're hurting,
medal.
but I mean these guys on the
feel?
podium. Oh, well,
It's a beautiful day, fantastic race. All boys very strong, very fast, but I win again, and I'm happy so much. Thank you.
Congratulations, well done.
Danke schön.
Sorry, I cut you off.
No, that's okay. I mean, these guys are on the pontoon, so I mean, they're pretty elated, I would imagine, and all the hurt's pretty worthwhile. But yeah, definitely out of breath and a bit of muscle sting.
So how long does that take? You need to quickly go and get the lactic out of your system. How does it actually work? But I'll ask you later. Here we go. Luckenstoff takes the gold for Russia. Di Liberto for silver for Italy, and Simaria, who we didn't really mention much, but from Hungary by definition is good, takes the bronze.
They just had a shift in the positions there.
Well, the timing system normally sorts them out, but all athletes were fairly close.
Yeah, all within just over 1 second.
It's a pretty different feeling in relation to the pain after races from the 200 to the 1,000 too. Like once you finish 1,000, you really can't do anything for a long time. But it's like painful. And with the 200, at least for me, it often feels like you just can't make things do what you want them to do, but it's a lot less pain.
We're trying to sell this sport, by the way. If your parents listening out there, they're happy, Frenchy, healthy athletes who are enjoying the slight disagreeable feature for a few seconds after a race.
No, it is definitely different. And I think even the cool down after the 200 versus 1,000 is very different.
Yeah.
You're spending a lot of energy in the first couple of minutes of 1,000 just composing yourself and getting your strokes right. But the 200 you can paddle pretty normally.
Yeah, we're all just masochists. That's really all it is. We just love pain.
This
no
is
pain,
a
no gain.
personal opinion of Ian Ross. But I mean, it's as a way of life. Do you choose it, or does it choose you?
I think you definitely choose it. No one, we're all adults, and I think by this stage in our career, you all wake up every morning making your own choices, and we all love it.
the mallards there, they're quite smart. They fly away, but some of the Canada geese were not that bright yesterday.
There's quite a vast duck population on the course this weekend. We've noticed quite a few different species. It's been a discussion amongst our athletes.
Yeah, got to watch out for those Canadians.
Yeah, they don't care, do they? This is our pond and keep off it.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to have a medal ceremony. We just had to, not saying that Thomas Konietzki was panicking, but 2 minutes ago he was casual, and now he'll have a shirt on and a tie on to actually hand out the medals. There he is, just buttoning up.
I think the crowd will be happy with this ceremony.
Yeah, double Germans.
2 Germans.
Yeah.
2 Germans in it. And a Russian who wins, so everyone's happy, especially the Russians. There's Elena, who's the General Secretary of the Russian Federation, Tom Konietzki, the Senior Vice President, and really puts a lot of effort into this game.
The medals will be presented by Thomas Konietzki, the Vice President of the International Team Federation, accompanied by the team leader of Russia. The bronze medals representing Germany, Jan Vondrack.
There's Jan Vondrack taking the bronze medal. And if you're listening to the voice of the actual speaker, it's called Tiger, and he's going to be the speaker at the Tokyo Olympic Games. So he's come to have a bit of experience today. Doing a good job. Didn't know that, did you?
Definitely did not know that. I didn't realise they gave out those jobs so early.
Yeah, I did not know that at all.
The silver medals representing Germany, Stefan Kier.
Your bedmate? No, sorry, roommate.
Something like that, yeah. Depends on how things are going.
Silver medals for Germany.
Yeah, he's going to be very happy with that. That's great. He really loves the 200.
The gold medals representing Russia, Ivan Stil.
Ivan Stil, well done, sir. So far, not many races, but 2 Russian golds.
Yeah, they're very dominant in the 200.
They've taken out the K and the C.
Ladies and gentlemen, please once again show recognition for the medalists.
So here they have a chance to official photographs. Will go down in history, which is great. So the show goes on. It's 200 meters final. Lance Vincent Lepoint, 26 years old today. So happy birthday. I think she's hoping to spoil everyone else's day. Katie Reed from Great Britain.
You've got Josephine Bulmer there in lane 8 as well, a South Aussie C1 paddler. Made the switch a couple years ago. I think she was wrapped this morning to make the A final, so I think she's really going to go out there with a nothing to lose attitude and just going to give it her best.
That's really impressive. Good for her.
Yeah, she. I actually used to train with her in the K1 and a few years ago when I first moved to Adelaide, and then she's made the switch, and it's really, really suited her, I think.
That's awesome to see.
So who else are we going to look out for?
The birthday girl.
Yeah, the birthday girl. She's been so dominant. Yesterday they took 2 seconds off the previous world's best in the C2 500.
Yeah.
Wow,
And then moving down. And I was talking to her afterwards, and she was saying this is such a good time to be in because everything they're pushing the.
It's
pushing
getting
the level.
exciting.
Eugénie Dange from France. So the French have always had a reputation of being good in the men's, and they're coming through the women as well.
She paddles very well, actually. It's very, very good long technique. I think, I don't know who her coach is, but they're doing a great job.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Chinese will historically have a very high stroke rate in this event. They try to go for more get as many strokes into the 200 meters as you can versus having a little bit longer stroke. And maybe being a little more long and efficient, like kind of the way Laurence paddles, but
Is
both
the birthday
techniques
girl.
work.
The birthday girl who's really setting new standards all the time. It's because she's allowed to, before she was a student, or still a student, but now she's allowed to really give all her energy in the build-up to Tokyo. But what's more interesting, she isn't actually guaranteed the place for her, because we have Katie Vincent, who's also an extraordinary paddler.
Yes.
It's a good problem to have for Canada.
Yeah.
Katie Reed, good to have a Brit in the final.
Looks like it's still a pretty fair win for everyone too, so no one should have any problems. Indonesia had a very high stroke rate in her heats and semis as well.
Diana, it's great to see representatives from all over the world. I was going to say it's mainly European, but I've got an American and Australian sitting next to me. So
Careful what you're saying.
Yeah, watch out.
but it is a bit of it's a shame that you're not invited to the Europeans by definition. So you have quite a gap until the Worlds.
Yeah, especially with our weather seasons too.
Yeah, there's Lisa Jan. She's a strong paddler from Germany. She's did C2 earlier, and they made it into the A final, but the C1 is kind of a little special love for her, so hope she does well. Another Chinese athlete. She looks very strong. I'm sure she's going to have a very high stroke rate.
What's striking there? They're not large athletic builds, are they? They look fairly modest.
There's Josie Bulmy, young paddler from Adelaide. I think she's just gonna. She's usually got a stronger finish than her start, but I think she's been trying to work on that.
She's got a very nice stance. There's the Russian athlete.
Coach, let's see how she goes forward. The Russians have a couple of really top athletes.
Especially in this 200.
There's Rozapenka, who's not in this one, but she's done some really top stuff. So here they go, 200 meters. So no Hungarians here. Let's see if they're all safely off the line. We're looking at the Indonesian coming the first few, like you mentioned, very short paddle strokes.
Yep, nice quick exit. She's got getting into her pace pretty quickly, which is going to be good for her, but Laurence has already gotten her way out ahead of the field with her power and her long strokes.
It's my birthday, so I'll win if I want to. And
Yeah.
she's really pushing forward.
Yeah, she's using her legs really well. She's kicking the boat up with her legs and her hips, and then her stroke's incredibly long. And she's just pulling away from the field. Her strokes are longer. They're almost as fast. They're extremely powerful. And it's really a one-horse race for the gold medal here. But it looks like Russia's coming up for second, maybe, with her high stroke rate.
So 20 meters to go, and this is a complete exhibition. But Russia is coming back, but no doubt about the winner. It is for Canada. Lars Vincent Lepoint takes the gold medal.
Very dominant display there.
Yeah, that was really impressive to have a boat length after 100 meters on everyone in a
Happy
200
birthday.
race. Yeah.
It's so exciting to be in her space in the sense that clearly as it's a newish event, although she was world champion 8 times, they're really pushing the boundaries forward. So if you took 2 seconds off a time in a K event, you'd have to have
everyone would be ecstatic, yeah.
Yeah, but whereas this, it's almost like expected, and it's scary, but it's also inspirational, I guess, to know that there's so much more.
Yeah, this is a really fair conditions for this race. It'll be interesting to see what her time was if she was.
And even manages to do the last minute push to perfection.
Yeah.
It was last weekend where she beat her world's best time twice, was it?
Yes,
she
it
did
was, yeah.
44.5
So
in the last
quick.
one.
Very, very impressive.
She's also really had a big change of speed once she switched over to her Plastex canoe. She's really liked that a lot more than what she was doing in the past, and it's made a good deal of difference for her almost immediately.
And yes, she was telling us last week she's got a new paddle. It's the first time she raced last week with a new stiffer paddle.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense for the women. All their distances are shorter for the women's canoe, so having a stiffer paddle makes a lot of sense.
But it hurts the forearms, apparently.
Yeah, and the shoulders. You can see she has some kinesio tape on her top shoulder from pressing into that firm paddle, and that's okay. I mean, she'll get used to that. Yeah.
Okay, let's see what she said. I was trying to get Ross to give her a cake, but he ate them, I think.
First of all, from everyone here in Duisburg and everyone watching at home today, happy birthday. What a wonderful way to celebrate your birthday.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's a very nice birthday.
How was it out there?
It was tough, but a good race. Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
think the crowd appreciate. They've been a very fair crowd. Clearly they give it extra applause for the Germans, but in the last 2 or 3 days they've, with the sort of the top, say with Lisa Carrington and with Lance and a couple of other dominant, 45.885 in these conditions is impressive. So Canada gold, Russia silver, and Great Britain are up there with the bronze medal. So everyone happy, I believe.
Very close there for that bronze medal between 3rd to 5th as well.
Yeah, that was really, really tight.
K2 200-meter final, and Carrington, Fisher, who won last week, Lahat Schwartz, who were disappointed with themselves this week in the K2 500. They came second last weekend. Who else do we need to look out for who might be fast?
The Swedish crew of... there we go, Wickerberg and Johansson. I mean, Corinne's obviously a very strong 1,000-meter athlete. She was silver a couple of days ago.
Mo's been on the team for the last 6 or 7 years.
Yeah,
Well,
they
still mid-20s.
Very young.
Argentina's pretty fast, are they not?
Polish crew, I think you'll also see up front there, but it's going to be hard to look past that Kiwi crew of Lisa and Amy. Amy obviously winning the under 23 last year, and Lisa with her own performance and history, but it'll be interesting to see if any other crews can push up to them, because 200's short.
So we're having a good view of the Dutch or the Netherlands team. That's Van der Laan and Konjik, which is great to see them in the final. Czechs obviously have a great reputation in this very young team. The Polish are switching because for many years they had the same 4 or 5 athletes that were completely the rock of the Polish team.
You have, and you've seen a couple of other countries do that same thing, splitting up some different team boats, and I think people are just trying different options, I guess, leading into the next Olympic Games.
Well, here we go.
Very strong Austrian crew.
Schwartz, who always enjoy each other's company. They seem to spend like 364 days
They also
a year
spend a bit
together.
of time on the Gold Coast back in Australia with us. They spend a bit of time through our summer, just getting a few warmer training sessions in compared to home.
There's Lisa Carrington, Amy Fisher, and it's just a complete...
Composed.
They're so mechanical, aren't they? They just like wind up.
Any front-on view of their race is just very, very good to watch. You can learn a lot from watching them paddle.
And so Lisa Carrington, we stress that in this section of the World Cup, she's not going for the single events.
Yeah, I think a couple of athletes may have been happy about that, but yeah, she's really focused on the team boats and shown her versatility by being able to race different distances too.
And I know it's fun and games going on in the background of how the Tokyo schedule is going to be awarded. Is it going to be personally for Lisa Carrington, or is it going to be fair?
Oh God, I think you can take it any which way. I think
Anyway, we'll move on. South Africa. It's great to see the athletes in here. A bit of a wave to Bridget Hartley if you're watching. Keep up the good work. I know she's been doing a lot of marathon and having a few challenges to make it into the World's team, but I'm sure she'll come through.
Here's the Swedish crew.
So Johansson has great memories here in the K2 500, where she just nicked at the last second from Lahatchi and Schwartz, the Rio place, and Yang and Zhu from China. And here they go, they're lining up. Clearly the dominant boat has to be the black boat. But you like the Swedish, don't you? I'm really feeling you think they might do something.
I think they could pull something out.
200 metres, Duisburg, World Cup 2 2018. And the New Zealanders are off to a predictably strong start.
There you go, the Austrian girls, very strong strokes there. You've got the Kiwi girls with their highest stroke rate, but really efficient, really making sure every stroke is really pushing them forward. But you've got the crews from Austria, is that Austria on the other side? Poland on the other side.
Anyway, they seem to have the ability to really control the race. But in lane number 3, it's the young Polish athletes. They're really putting down a statement, and they're saying we're not out of it yet. So New Zealand having to really grit their teeth in the last 20 metres. They're going to take the victory from Poland. It's going to be desperately close who takes the 3rd position. Either Sweden or Austria.
Again, you've got to predict that lunge, and you've got to do it as a pair, so it's even harder in those 200 K2s.
Well, Lisa never shows any emotion, but if she did, I'd say she's panting a bit.
I would say she's pretty happy too.
They're so relaxed and composed throughout their race and just powerful. It's really impressive to watch.
And there's a new, they were able to, last week they put 2 K4s, and I think 2 K4s in this week, and they all have this confident walk. They're all fairly modest on the outside, but it's like the machine, you know, there's something going through the factory. Gordon Walker and his team, yeah.
Confidence is half the battle in these events. You're walking around with a lot of impressive athletes. You've just got to, you know, puff your chest and, you know, pretend to be one of them as well. But no, the Kiwis have a very strong team.
Maybe a future generation. You athletes spend a lot of time together, so they sometimes. Anyway, here they go.
Pretty strong start by the South African crew there.
Yeah, really first out the blocks, weren't they?
But then the Kiwis just come through so strong, really using their legs and body to get that boat moving through the water.
I wonder how it happened, because the first few meters they really took out of like a 2-meter lead. Then did they settle into their pace, or was the others Polish just coming back?
Yeah, I think the others came back because, I mean, there's not too much settling that you can do in a 200, but you just look at that view, you can see the connection that they get through that paddle.
And how quickly the paddle goes through the water. It's really, really impressive.
Is that natural ability, coaching, hard work? I guess the whole thing.
Probably all of it.
I was going to say a pretty good combination of all three.
And could you, if you sort of get a clone of Gordon Walker in every single country, could you in 10 years produce the same sort of stuff?
Oh, I don't know. I think it's so individual and everyone's different and how they tick and whatnot, but I definitely don't think it would hurt.
There's so many variables. There's conditions that you train at. There's the opportunities from the federation. There's just so many training partners. There's all kinds.
Yeah, individual makeup of your own physiology, but everyone's got their strengths and weaknesses.
And having someone of the exceptional personality and character of Lisa Carrington, who's taken the gold in 37.251 with Amy Fisher. Second is Poland, and bronze medal are just really close there, the Swedes, who just knocked out Austria.
You're actually looking at a bit of a head breeze at the moment. You sort of, I think it might slow down the 200-meter times just a touch, but again, it's fair across the board. So
I think it's nice not to have a world record of the world's best time, not every single race, because it makes it a bit discouraging for people.
Yeah, probably.
for normal humans.
Too much excitement.
So the Montemor World Championships, I hear the organisation's going well. That's an interesting place. And now we go for the C2 200-meter final. Kowalenko and Shatil. Well, Shatil's had about, 12 minutes to cool down?
That's going to be a really, really hard to turn around and make a C2 200 happen after doing a C1 200. But there's some really, really strong boats in here as well. There's the Brazilian crew. There's it looks like Tom Hall and Evan Bessemer in lane 1 from Canada. Tom Hall just won the B final for C1 200, and Evan was in the B final as well. I believe he got 4th or 5th, so they're going to be pretty strong probably. As well as the Polish and the Chinese crews. I would imagine that both of those countries historically, based off what they've done, would be good in the 200 as well.
Is it clearly not being an Olympic event, is there a problem with motivation, or do they just get on with it?
I don't think so, especially in a year where the Asian Games is so big. All those events actually matter at the Asian Games, so I'm sure they want to be fast for it this year.
Well, familiar faces there.
Yeah.
Sousa certainly in the front.
Very accomplished C2 paddlers, both of them.
In lane 1, Canada.
I believe that's Kazakhstan in lane 3. Those are two very strong paddlers. I remember racing against the brother in the back in 23 at the U23 World 2013 in the U23 World Championships.
Well, there's 3 or 4 brothers who are all sort of bringing it forward there.
Yeah, that's interesting. Kazakhstan double riding. You hardly ever see that in a men's C2 race.
I guess they're inspired by the women.
Yeah, it's more common in the women's races, but it's hard to make. That's got to be the favorite, I would think, for this race, the Russian C2.
They look like they're there for business.
And they're much more dominant team boats for the 200 meters, even more so than in their singles, which is really hard to imagine based on how good they are in singles.
And Lipkin, who has been around for many, many years, I believe he's switched to Kazakhstan now.
Yeah. There's a lot of that goes on in Europe sometimes. This is a good Polish crew. They'll be very, very strong. I'd imagine they'd be coming from the back off the line and trying to get the Russians right at the end. The Russians are probably going to pull off the line the fastest, and I would guess is the Chinese crew. they're probably going to have a really, really high stroke rate after the first 10 to 15 strokes, I would guess.
So Yin Yang.
There's another seat shoot. Lee was a very, very strong C1 paddler for a long time, and now it looks like he's taking up a bit of the C1, or C2, sorry. So this is going to be a really fun race to watch. It's the last Polish crew.
Coming to you live, well about 40 meters from the finish line, and it's a lovely day, a bit of a breeze, probably what, 23 degrees. Bit of a swirling wind, but look at the flatness of the water.
It looks like it's actually a righty's headwind, but it's small enough that it shouldn't affect any of these
That's
canoes.
the Russians. The Russians say we could put whatever we like on it and leave us alone. They had big issues a couple of years ago.
Get some interesting sponsors. Oh, that was a strong start from Kazakhstan, the double righty crew. They got out on the Russians. That's really, really impressive that they did that. But the Russians, I would guess, have made up that distance by now. Oh, they haven't. The double righty C2 is just taking it out on everyone. That's so impressive.
So that's a stroke rate, and now but the Russians want the win, though.
Yeah, here comes, they're really engaging their hips super powerfully through this middle of the race, and they're making up a bit of distance, but the Kazakhstan crew has a very, very high stroke rate.
Here we go into the last 40 meters, and it's neck and neck. It looks like the Russians have really timed it to perfection. Who's going to have the best lunge? And Russia just take it.
Yeah, wow, that was so impressive for that Kazakhstan crew to pull out as a double righty C2 in a 200-meter race.
So we could be rewriting the form, or is it just it's not logical to have two on the same side?
Usually that does not work because of the steering aspect. It's much easier to keep the boat running with a paddler on either side, especially for a race like the 200. There's just such a high frequency that trying to keep that boat running straight from the back is really hard when the other person isn't on the other side. So I think you saw that a little bit with the Russian crew gaining on the end, because the double righty C2 probably had to bring the boat back to the middle of the lane a little bit, but that was really, really impressive for them to get out like that in a 200-meter race.
Well, you can see there's a slight, some of the swirling. You see some of the flags on the right not moving much, and some of it's the end of the course. The athletes often collect there because there's a rather fine TV screen, so they can actually see the replays and see what's going on, although they are looking at the same images as we are.
Yeah, I've definitely been guilty of stopping my warm down in front of that screen just to check the times and the positions.
And some of the more, I suppose, experienced athletes, actually like Dostal, he'll actually play to the crowd.
Yes,
so in
yes.
real time, he'll wave and he'll do his little hand sign.
He'll know when he's on screen and play to that.
Yeah, every time.
So another victory for the Russian
in the 200-meter race.
Canoers.
Yeah.
They're cleaning up today, aren't they?
Yeah.
Shatil, say the same 5 words again, it's fine.
Well, what a great day it's been for Russia so far. So many gold medals. Now K2 200. Was that a good race for you?
Да, гонка была хорошая. Несмотря на то, что, можно сказать, одиночки двойка была подряд. Ну, посмотрим, как будет на чемпионате Европы. Все смотрите греблю и занимайтесь.
I have no idea what you said, but I'm sure that you're very happy to win. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So that just shows that Ross's Russian is perhaps not as it should be.
Yeah, that's a hard language.
But I think that's fine now.
Yeah.
I do think that's fine. I think if you're it's better than my Russian. A few words. Good crowd. Well, I think we have a lot of listeners online from Russia. So hello if you're watching in.
You can see how much the Russians use their hips in the 200 meters. It just creates so much power in such a short amount of time. But
you mentioned yesterday obviously the leg muscle is a lot bigger and stronger than the arm muscle, so it makes sense to really use those.
yeah, I mean, if you can imagine walking around's a lot easier than doing a handstand and then walking around, partly because of balance aspect, but also like your legs are meant to carry your whole body weight, and that's what this sport is. So the use of the hips and the legs, and canoe especially, are very, very, it's a huge game changer if you can get that correct. But it's hard to do at that high of a stroke rate.
Results.
Double Kazakhstan.
Golenke Shatil take the gold, and Kazakhstan silver, Kazakhstan bronze. Well done, Kazakhstan.
Yeah, they made the double righty C2 look very easy, as do Canada, the Canadian women's C2 with both Vincents, but it's really, really hard to do. It's like having two C1s in one race.
You're really trying to stress that you're top athletes.
They're top athletes. To be able to be that fast on the same side in a C2 is incredibly hard.
There's all sorts of analogies of what's it like going into a C2, but it's all sort of I don't know, it's difficult. Anyway, stop my rubbish, and we're going to go on to the K1 200 meters. So how did you briefly get into C1 or C2? How did you start paddling?
My father and mother both paddled. My dad was really, really close to making the 92 Olympic team, and I just kind of grew up going to races, and then eventually hopped on a boat and started doing it a little bit.
And your brother had no choice?
Yeah, he got in a little later than I did. We both did a lot of sports growing up, so it was a late development for both of us compared to most other countries.
And Kat, tell me about all your life.
Oh, I guess I grew up doing a few different sports when I was younger, but it was actually it was offered as a school sport in my high school doing kayaking. We did the Murray Marathon, so 5-day event, 400 kilometres as a school team, and so that's how I got into it and just ended up having a bit more fun and taking it a little bit further after I finished school.
And now, what sort of hours, how many hours a week are you putting into this exercise?
Oh, I don't think I've ever really counted, but I mean, you're training 2 or 3 times a day, and each session comes differently as time and intensity, but I mean, you're dedicating a big portion of your life, and when you've got work or studies outside of that, you sort of find yourself pretty lost in terms of what else to do.
A complete way of life for you athletes.
Yeah, it's a sport that requires a lot of time commitment versus other sports that at least I've done.
Yeah, you've got to be good in the gym and on the water, and you've got to put time into both.
So here we're going to have a second presentation ceremony, and this is for the women K1 200.
So Lenny collecting her second medal of the weekend.
Yeah, she won the gold yesterday.
And even Sarah in K2 500.
Yeah, I think she's had 2 seconds and a third. So she'll have to watch it going through customs. Very smart new medals, by the way, designed by the ICF team.
Very, very good looking medals.
Ladies and gentlemen, we present the medalists for the K1 Women's 200 meters. The medal will be presented by Peter Ludwig, the Vice President of the German Canoe Association, accompanied by Thomas Obrowski, President of the Polish Olympic Committee.
So you can hear the dignitaries giving out the medals.
Representing France, Sarah Guillaume.
So Guillaume, third medal of the weekend.
The silver medalist, representing Sweden, Linnea Stenzel.
Linnea Stenzels, again, second medal of the weekend. I suppose when you're on form, you're on form. What's great though is that there's 3 or 4 athletes that are really, really good in the 200 and the 500 now. So there's Linnea, there's Emma Jorgensen, there's Lisa Carrington. Athletes who will be having aspirations of going to Tokyo.
Representing Poland, Marta Wracikiewicz.
Marta Woltkiewicz for Poland. Great to see her back on the top.
Yeah, she'll be very happy with her performance today, Marta.
And the president has a chance to congratulate his athlete.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, please show your recognition to the medalists.
There's a lovely smell of a barbecue. Can you smell it?
I wasn't going to say anything.
Oh, wow.
I think it's the beer garden all the way down on the right at the end of the venue.
Yeah, it's getting to that time of the weekend.
You can
Yeah.
see on
Sunday
the overhead pictures, you can just see
Yeah,
at
there you
the edge
go.
of your picture, there's an amazing barbecue, and we're at the top, and unfortunately the wind's just blowing our way. It's really annoying.
Just out of reach.
These are great overhead drone pictures to just really show the whole venue and show a
Yeah.
bird's eye view.
It's been great having the drones out here over the last couple of weeks. It really gives a different perspective, and I think it makes the course look a lot bigger than it feels when you're on the water.
I think it's just it's just technology, isn't it? It's bringing it forward. You know, it's a case of.
Yeah, and it's great to have it with canoe kayak.
It's a great way to showcase the sport and in a new way.
Well, here's the very smart towel. They actually spent 10 million euros on making it better. This is the K1 500 men start list, and we have some really big names here.
Yeah, it's been a bit of an exciting event, the men's 500. I guess since the introduction of the K4 men's 500, you see a lot of people giving a bit more focus into this event. You've got Dostal, obviously, with his history, and you've got the Belgian.
Arthur Peters.
Yep, very impressive athlete. He
Medal
had a
yesterday.
great 1,000-meter performance.
Renee Paulsen's in there as well from Denmark.
Multiple world champion. He's been a bit quiet in the K1 1000, but again, you know, when it matters, it's going to be the Olympics.
Yeah, I'm a bit biased, but you've got Murray Stewart there, the Aussie, always.
The young architect.
Yes, the young architect from Sydney. Here with his young family, actually got a gorgeous little boy, Milo. Provides a lot of entertainment for our Australian team.
Got the Germans. Shop is in there. Again, they're giving some of the younger athletes a chance to sort of really push through. We're going to have the Flying Four. I don't know what they call themselves a bit later. Two athletes from Belgium. Brand Zickens. I wonder when the last time we had two athletes from Belgium in the K1 500 final. Where's Joseph Dostal? Oh, there's Arthur Peters. He's still quite young. His sister Emin was performing well, has been performing well this weekend. He looked good yesterday. He was leading convincingly in the first section of the 1,000 metres and managed to hold on.
Yeah, it's a very different race, 1,000 to the 500, so it'll be interesting to see how he sort of composes himself this time, if he just goes out or he relies on that middle speed. And Dostal, obviously.
His boat's bigger than normal, but he still makes it look small.
He came towards me in the warm-up lane the other day, and I was very quick to move off to the side.
So this is his first race of the season. Well, yesterday was the first race of the season, but he's just warming himself back into the
Very
action.
dominant 2017 in the 500, so it'll be interesting to see how he comes out today.
Took the World Championships on his home course.
It's funny they actually have to cut the cockpit for the Nello for him to actually fit him in there differently.
Custom boat.
Yeah.
He said he tried quite a few sports when he was younger, basketball. Here's Rennie Holton-Paulsen. He's mastered the
Great
sponsorship
history.
technique.
Yep, Red Bull.
Polar, Premier. Well done, Rennie. Why not?
Sponsors are pretty happy with us too, mentioning them.
Yep.
Absolutely. Please feel free. We want as many as possible. I'm sure you get great. You have everything. You have attractive lifestyle, top athletes, exciting, well-filmed sport.
Oh, there's Christian from South Africa. It's great seeing him in there. He's had a little bit of a down year last year and looks like he's come back pretty strong.
Here's Murray. Murray Stewart will have a great race. I think he's pretty speedy, so I think his first half will be pretty good and up there with the rest of them.
Let's be honest, whatever race he does, it's the 1,000 or the 100 or the 500, he goes off like it's a 500.
He does.
Apparently he's changed his tactic. Marcus Gross.
Second German.
So they're switching around. We had Max Rentschmidt, who had a fight-off with Tom Leibscher yesterday in the 500.
Yeah, that was
rather.
very impressive to watch, and fun to be on our side of the viewing, though. Oh, someone's gone through. There has been a bit of weed on the course. Yeah, I've found myself back paddling, and especially in the warm-up, like you want to make sure that's off your boat. You don't need any resistance going down that course.
Yeah, you saw
there's the great crested grebe going past, which might
Yep.
have a few problems. Sorry, so you were saying?
You just saw Murray Stewart when he came into the bucket, bounce his boat up and down. It looked like he was trying to get something off his rudder as well.
So you've got a bit of a tailwind at the moment, actually, a bit of a breeze going down the course.
So 500 metres.
There we go. Great start by Renee.
Rennie's great to spot because there's a yellow end of the boat.
You'll see Dostal there, the side of his boat almost tips underneath the water. You'd be wanting to make sure you're not filling up.
Arthur Peters, like he did in the 1,000 metres, on the third at the top of your picture, it looks like he's going ahead with Rennie Holton Poulsen, and also at the bottom of your six from Sergeyev. He looks from Russia's having a fast start.
Yeah, you've got the 3 or 4 crews up there. You've got even Murray Stewart, you've got Lane 8, you've got Marcus Gross, all on the line. You'll start to see them settling down through this middle period, and when they hit that 250 mark, they're going to refocus and sort of bring it home again. But for the men, it's a short race. It's it's a minute 30, a minute 40, so they sort of really don't have time to switch off.
This is one of their often the
having a quick
legends,
look
one of
there.
their favourite races. But here we go.
Look left, look right.
Pushing it
Arthur
forward.
Peters still up there.
Dostal wants this, I think.
Bit of impressive performance.
So coming in for the new refurbished accommodation block, it is Dostal taking it away. Ronnie Holton Poulsen is also giving it his all.
Arthur Peters, you've got a pretty tight race for third here.
Arthur Peters in your picture still. He had the best start, but he's come off. But there's no doubt about who really
Even up
moved
in
ahead.
lane
But
1, Jacob Schroff is coming up.
they're really fast finishing shot.
Really hurting in this last 100 metres, but really pushing forward, and strong is coming from Dostal.
Dostal looks to control the race, coming with the last 30 metres to go. It is close behind Arthur Peters, but no doubt about who's going to take the win today. Josef Dostal from Arthur Peters, from very close. It could be Marcus Gross, or is it Rennie Holton Poulsen?
There you go. So once again, stamping his authority over the event. There we go. We might get a bit of a show.
No, he'll know.
No standing up this time.
A couple of years ago in Rechichi, he gave out such a roar that he's scared of all the other athletes.
He's got quite a smile there too.
No, he's a good, well-rounded athlete. Great singer as well. If you're getting on the singing.
Yes, Arthur Peters, pretty happy with himself. Great weekend actually for the young athlete from Belgium. We've actually had his sister and her K2 partner Lisa train with us in Italy in the lead up to last year's World Championships. It's not the best start from Dostal, but clearly comes home very strong.
It's a lot of weight to get moving.
Like you said, the boat very low through the water though. Stopping pretty early, pretty confident with his finish. And it looks like you've got third from Renee, or is it the German?
Could be shocked.
Dead even.
Be looking for the times for that one. But no doubt about it, definitely Dostal.
He's internalised the victory today. And it's like a vicious circle. It's because he's very good, and because he always puts on a show, the camera always looks for him.
Yep.
So he always puts on a show because the camera.
It's a cycle.
They can let him stay in the boat or get out.
He'd be pretty good at this part, the interview afterwards.
Good job. That's nice.
Joseph, congratulations. After your 1,000 yesterday, you looked today like a man who really wanted to win that race.
I wanted so much that I almost fell in the water like 80 meters to finish because I had a bad grip on the paddle, so I almost fell in. So the gold medal was almost sunk over there.
Well, you didn't fall in, so you got the gold medal. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And he's kept his Rio paddle, obviously works. This is they actually come out in the front of boat control.
Oh, there we go. Renee Poulsen from Denmark got the third.
Really close.
0.03 in front, very close racing.
So Czech Republic gold, Belgium silver, and Denmark bronze.
By a layer of paint.
It's in those positions where you're fourth and you're wondering, was there something you could have done just for that extra bit? But
Just one stroke.
We're splitting the Canadians. This is why Katie Vincent is going in the 500 meters.
Yeah, she's got to be a favorite. She paddles very well.
Two Chinese athletes again coming forward. And it's really this starting to have a strength of depth because the funding. It's not rocket science that tells you that you're having two canoe events in the Tokyo Olympic Games.
There's a good shot at Deju Vakasi. He's actually from my Canoe Club and WCC.
Camouflage lens.
Yeah.
Right, so that's his brother Balant's camera. There's 3 brothers that are always...
Oh, there are 3 brothers. I was wondering why the names were changing.
Yeah.
Well, Balant has been promoted to the Secretary General of the Hungarian Olympic Federation,
Right.
but they're all very talented photographers. So
Yeah, always great photos come out of these events.
Anyway, let's not forget the action. So for China, Xu is coming up again. This is 500 meters.
Yeah, you can probably expect a little bit of a slower start on this one and a little bit of a longer rhythm, but Katie Vincent does a very good job of having a good long stroke, keeping the power all the way through the race.
Molnar from Hungary. They have great strength. I think they're one of the first nations to realize that picking up medals is never easy, but there's possibilities here.
Yeah.
Have we just seen him in the last race?
Yep, she was in the C1 200. She medaled actually, so this will be a quick turnaround for her. It's a good shot of Katie Vincent.
So she trains pretty much every day, all day, with Laurence Vincent Lepointe, and they really seem to thrive off each other.
Yeah, for sure. They're very evenly matched.
And let's see how she can go on.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the C1 Women's 500 meters A final. In lane 1.
So hometown favorite, Annika.
Slightly built, though.
Yeah, very slightly
So
built.
running yesterday looked quite determined.
She paddles pretty well though, so she's gonna have a good race today, I would guess.
Thailand, it's great to have a Thailand athlete in the final.
That is great. It's great for the sport and the growth of the sport.
Well, the talent identification program has been in action now for many years, and they seem to reach out. And Miss Chloe Bracewell is also in action today.
Again, we're not seeing much movement from the flag right in front of us, but down at the bottom of the course, there's a bit of breeze going.
Yeah, it's so hard to tell, but then you look down the course and everything looks fine except for right where they're starting.
Yeah. You get patches of breeze, I think, along this course.
Yeah.
Well, it's a very long course, isn't it? Like it's set up for rowing, so it goes the whole 2,000 meters.
Yeah.
And then it's part of it sort of loops around, doesn't it? So there's like a public beach, and there's a reserve lane. It's a really great facility.
There's definitely a little bit of a tailwind right at the start here, though.
But here they are. They're off in the 500 meters. Not an Olympic event, but it's great experience. And Katie Vincent, as we see in the middle, is red-boated, and she looks like she's really up for it.
Yeah, her and the Russian. The Russian looks like she's gotten out a little bit of a more powerful start and got out a little bit on Katie Vincent, but Katie Vincent's going to show her class at the end of the race, not at the beginning. It's a pretty even race, though, right now. There's about 5 boats that are all really close together. That's the Russian athlete who medaled in the C1 and 200.
So 3 athletes in a row. So what do they do on the 500 race? They really set in and try and get an economic rhythm going.
Yeah, it's obviously a lot more of a higher power index for the whole race in relation to the 1,000, but not quite as much as the 200. But there's really a lot of similarities between the 200 and the 500. The first 100 to 150 is very, very powerful and strong, and then there might be a little bit of a lull, but then you got to pick it right back up again. There's really not much of any relaxing, though.
So for Russia to come off a race an hour ago, is that a challenge, or are you trained for that, I guess?
Yeah, Renee Paulson actually told me that one of the hardest things he's ever done is done 200, 500 in the same regatta, just because of the power requirements of both.
Katie Vincent is now showing her class and slightly moving ahead.
For sure, this is where it was going to happen. She's pulling away from everyone a little bit. Looks like the Russian athlete's having trouble staying up. She had such a strong start that it might be hard to hold on here at the end, but she's working hard still. China's coming up, though. Both Chinese athletes are coming through strong. It looks like Annika from Germany is making a little push to the end, too, but Katie Vincent's taking it away.
Yeah, but it's certainly not over yet, because Russian Koshak, who raced about an hour ago, is certainly looking to hold something on. Can she hold on? Katie Vincent has about 20 meters to go. I think she's going to manage to do it.
I think she is. It's going to be pretty tight between the 2 Chinese athletes for third.
Great performance, and the crowd really appreciate that. And Chloe Bracewell just crossing the line as well. They have their own sort of talent identification program. They take top athletes from other sports and say, we'll give you full funding for a couple of years, and it switch across, and it seems to be working.
Yep, it's working very well.
Every country has the different techniques, don't they? So the idea is to choose motivated top athletes and show them how to hurt themselves.
Yeah, it's a pretty hard, convincing battle.
That was a really competitive race, though. That was great to watch. Yeah, Katie Vincent was just really long and connected through her whole race. Just knew that it was all going to be about that last 100 for her, and she did it.
And Katie, where is Laurence Vincent Lepointe? You know she's happy.
Yeah.
With Katie,
For sure.
she internalizes her emotions a little bit more.
She's probably going to meet her at the dock when she comes back in from cooling down.
Well, Ross is there. We can see him waiting for the interview. It's a good idea, actually, putting him on the pontoon.
Well, Katie Vincent, we've seen you win so many C2 gold medals. What does it mean today to be out here and winning an individual gold medal?
Feels great. It's always nice to go up against Laurence and really push myself. So it's nice to get a little break this weekend and maybe get on the top podium for myself. But it's really good. It feels good.
Well, enjoy the moment. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Well done, Katie Vincent. Well done, Canada.
Yes, another dominant performance by the Canadian women.
But you still have 2 years left. Is 2 years enough to really put in a program and improve an athlete?
Oh, I think
For
definitely, yeah. I mean, they have such an established program already.
And they have so many athletes.
So many numbers.
If you go to a women's, if you go watch women's canoe in Canada, it's just almost as competitive as the race we just watched. They're so deep.
Someone was telling me they had 12 heats at their nationals, and I think although the problem they're having is too many people paddle on the same side, and they don't have enough of one of each.
Gold, Katie Vincent from Canada. Courage takes the silver for Russia, and Sun just beats out Xu to take the bronze for the People's Republic of China. Yeah, I guess it's a problem, isn't it? If you go with kite, you didn't have the same problem.
Yeah, no, it's funny how it works. Germany had the same problem on the men's side for a long time too. They had a ton of lefties and no righties, and
but then the Canadian women, I just guess, have just gone in and gone on the same side anyway with their C2.
Yeah, which is just so hard
defied
to
the
do.
system.
Yeah, but if you've got two really high quality athletes like that, you can make it work.
Definitely high quality.
So, crowds lulling around. It's a great day here. There's a bit of a...
Duisburg has really put on the weather. We've had some history of some cold regattas here, but
Definitely been some
I think
cold races,
everyone
yeah.
has been shocked.
Yeah.
And Ian, tell us something about these, because you actually know better than most. The new facilities, they spent 10 million euros. What have they done?
Yeah, it's well, first of all, everything really works very smoothly. Like all the Wi-Fi is a lot better. There's rooms. There's a lot more rooms for the athletes on that side. Yeah, there's more. I think there's a lot more opportunities for athletes to go and hang out inside, also on the venue side upstairs. For like publicly for all the athletes, and that never used to really be a thing. A lot of it was closed off, so it's really, really nice. All the boat bays are still the same, but that's a pretty simple aspect of the building.
You don't need to change too much there, but no, it's been great to have this facility all done and new for us.
Yeah.
And talking about the Southern Hemisphere, do you have anything comparable?
We have Penrith, which is where the 2000 Olympics were held, and that's a pretty great course. We have most of our important selection events there through our domestic season. I don't think we quite have the size that they have here. We just don't need the numbers. It's more taken up by rowers, but that would probably be a major course.
And in the US of A, what do you have there?
No, we don't have anything like. Well, we have one boathouse in Oklahoma City. That's it was a $47 million commitment by an energy company in Oklahoma that gave us a really beautiful building. But it's in Oklahoma, and there can be some tough weather situations there. So nothing quite as nice as here.
This is just a chance to live. You just come in now, you can see the emotions. Well, there's Marta Voltakiewicz, who's won the first K1 200 for a couple of years, and you just see what it means to these athletes to really
pure elation for her there. Really happy with herself, and so she should be.
I would guess there was probably some sort of a qualification in there for her too versus some other Polish athletes. So maybe she can relax a little bit now.
And that's the thing with the European countries. They've got so many numbers that they can be that great, but they still have to beat everyone back home.
Yeah, Hungary, for example, for their qualifications this year had 17 heats for men's K1 1000.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So here's Ivan Shatil, who is a master of his art. The Russian who won, so we had 3 Russian victories.
Yeah, Russia had a very impressive morning.
So actually, we're not going to, unfortunately, we have a live program here, so we're not going to be able to bring you pictures of the medal ceremony, but we're going to be really concentrating on the team boats, I've heard.
Yeah, we've got a couple of K4 events coming up.
And the K4, explain why it's important to do well for Olympic quotas.
K4 is really important to do well due to the 4 spots that I guess holds the weighting of it. I guess if you get your qualification of your K4, you get to take 4 athletes to the games, and you can, I guess, spread those athletes out how you want. So it's the best way of getting as many bums on seats in the kayak, I guess.
And we have to stress that even if you qualify for your country, you do that, don't you? You don't qualify for you qualify for the country. So that's why it's for people not in the boat at this moment, there's still lots of possibilities.
So it's definitely something that, it's focused about the country the year before, and then I guess the year of the games is when you have your own domestic trials, and that's when it's all about your own spot.
So it's going to be Szeged in the World Championships in 2019. And they are allocating, I believe, about 70% of the actual spots. Women's 4,
Here we go.
K4. So look at that, Great Britain, Germany, Russia, Australia, Poland, New Zealand, Germany, France, and Canada.
So we've got New Zealand here have actually done a boat change from last weekend. They've got Kayla Imrie's out and Rebecca Cole is in, so that will be interesting to see how they go, because they've been great over the last couple of years, and the Aussies were only a second off them last weekend, so they'll be looking to close that gap or get rid of it. But here you go, the Brits, they're a young crew, and they're going to be really fighting hard from that outside lane, sort of a bit of an unknown. They had to race their semi this morning, but obviously through the final.
So the fastest teams had a pass straight through from yesterday.
They did. So you've got Australia, Poland, and New Zealand in the middle 3 lanes who didn't have to race this morning. But whether that's a good thing or bad thing, we don't know. But they'll be fresh racing in this final.
And we saw the quickest time, I think, was from the young Poles. Looking at it, they put in a really
yes, the Polish crew, and I forget who they were fighting with, but it was top straight through the final, and they, both crews wanted it, so they had to push hard to the line. Whereas I think the other 2 heats were a little bit more relaxed, and the winners were a bit more certain of their position. You got the Kiwi crew here, so you got Rebecca Cole in the back. You've got Lisa leading the speedy crew.
You're not a coach, but why would they switch?
I think performances in their K1 may have dictated their crew swap, I guess. So you've always got to try, see if you can. They're obviously on a great winning formula, but if you can try and better that, why not? And so
keep the athletes on their toes, which you know something about.
Keep them competitive. You don't want to get any athletes complacent. So you can see the Aussie crew there, as well as the Polish crew just coming into the line.
And clearly they had I remember a couple of days before, they didn't seem that enthusiastic, and they suddenly took out second position and the world changed.
Which crew is this, sorry?
The Aussies.
Oh, yes. It was definitely a very enthusiastic last Sunday afternoon, and everyone was very happy, and I think they realised the potential that they can sort of live up to, and there you go. So Great Britain lane 1. Emily Lewis, Deborah Kerr, I think Rachel Cawthorne, and then kind of around the back.
And quite a few of the teams have been putting out 2 boats, which is encouraging.
Yeah, and you've got Germany with 2 boats. There you go. There's one of the crews, and I'm pretty sure they've actually split up a few of their K2s.
They have, haven't they? Because we see Francesca Weber in, but Tina Dietze not in the boat. So it's really interesting to see their mythology behind
the theory behind that, would be interesting to know, I guess. There you go, you got a Russian crew. Had a very good performance this morning in their semi to get into the final.
There's the ABs.
And there you go, Elise, Alyssa, Jamie and Joe. I'll be obviously cheering for them. They've had a great lead up. They've really committed to this boat and they've given it a really good go. And nice to see the boat design sticks out too. I mean, you can't really go past that pink boat, but the green tips are very handy. Poland. Probably going to be very quick off the start, this Polish crew. Different crew to previous years, but nonetheless, coming in with the fastest time.
So explain to me the nerves.
Oh, I mean, it's different for every athlete, but as soon as they say, 3 minutes to go, it's like, oh, God. And then they call you in and it's just about composing yourself. Okay,
And when do you actually get that magical switch?
I think when your nose hits the gate, it's go time.
Or when it drops,
Yeah, or 2 seconds later if you're not quite switched on. So here's the second German crew.
Just in second position there.
A bit more centrally placed. You don't know if that's the favourite. Here we got French. So we had Manon and Leah, the front two paddlers of that crew, join us in Australia over the summer. They were great to paddle with. Canadian crew.
That's Courtney Stott, Natalie, Maddie, and
going to be very fast
Alana.
off the line, the Canadians.
Yeah.
Expect to see a pretty good start.
They see since, well, obviously there's a couple of those. Dietmar, but Anders Gustafsson's got involved. It's, they seem to be an embarrassment of success.
Yep, getting their tips from everywhere. You get a lot of countries have international coaches, and it's nice to see. All right, so we've got the start of the K4 500 final.
Are you nervous?
I am nervous, actually. If you put a heart rate on me.
Well, here we go, they're off.
Good start by the Polish crew, and here in this position you've just got to get this crew together and you've got to get strong. You've got that boat off the line, it's heavy. I mean, we're female paddlers, we're used to paddling a boat 70 kilos, but these are big boats. A great start from the Polish crew and the Kiwis.
You can see exactly how they're able to keep the boats in the middle, which is really impressive.
There we go. So that very impressive style from the Kiwi girls, just strong through the water. You've got them all in time. Pretty even across the field, actually.
And the pressure on the new girl, because she can't win really good.
Yes, I mean, you're sitting in fourth seat, pretty nervous. You've got that black boat, which is really hard to see where it's sitting, but it looks like the Polish crew in second, and then the other side, I think it's the German crew, or the Russian crew, sorry, up in third. But the Aussies are pretty good with their finish, so I'm still holding out hope. So coming through the last 200, strong use of their legs. That's really good timing of their leg drive, and that's what makes the boat go. You've got to make sure you're all putting in that power at the same time.
Well, everyone loves this. Germany holding on there, but it's certainly New Zealand with the black boat.
Poland are coming through, having a really good finish here from Poland, really taking it up to the Kiwis. I don't think they've felt this pressure before, and even the Russians on the other side.
This is what they need there, because they fell short in the Worlds last year.
Here we go, very tight finish.
Are they going to be past? Is it the Lisa effect going to hold on? No one beats Lisa with 20 metres to go.
The Germans coming up. New Zealand, Poland and Russia.
With Australia just coming in, was it fourth or fifth
I
position?
think fourth or fifth with the German crew.
That was a fight, wasn't it? I think that's what they need there.
Yeah, finally a bit of
competition. The Hungarians.
A bit of emotion from that crew. I think the girl in the back will be pretty stoked with that, but that was a hard-fought race. Be interesting to see what the times are. The conditions are a bit sort of still at the moment. Crowd obviously liking the fast, big boats.
Well, it is spectacular, isn't it, really? If you
is.
just want to see power and splashing and things
And what
like
a gorgeous day to come out to watch.
I think a lot of family and friends, because it's quite close. Obviously, Duisburg's a major city. It's great to see the fans.
Here we go. So there's the Aussies off the start line, getting that nose out of the water. Very even off that first 50 to 100 metres.
So tell me about the Aussie boat. Physically, the boat was it brought over, or do you?
No. So we have a European fleet that stays in Italy. That boat's from last year, but we're very grateful and lucky to have a fresh fleet of boats meet us on our arrival here. It's just not efficient or economical to bring boats across from Australia.
And if you're watching for the first time, you think, oh, I'm with my mates, I'd like one of those. How much they cost?
Oof.
I'd prefer not to know, really.
Way too much.
Yeah, here we go. Here's the results going to come up. Oh. So there you go, Lisa and Caitlin, K2 partners. Very impressive K2 performance this weekend as well. Got split up last weekend, but back together.
So giving the new girl a bit of a...
No, wrong one. Stop them.
As you had Amy and Lisa this morning with their K2 backing up. And then new girl coming in fresh.
Well, must be such a buzz.
Oh, it'll be very exciting.
Congratulations to the New Zealand K4 team. That was very, very close. I want to talk to the newest member of the crew here, Rebecca Cole. How was that, Rebecca, for you, paddling with these gurus out here on the water and winning a World Cup gold medal?
That was amazing. It's the coolest thing I've ever done.
She's our frother. We call her the coal train.
Yeah, I'm in the fan club.
You probably had the best view of what was happening going around you too, Rebecca. Were you yelling at the girls to go faster?
I was just looking at Amy, just trying to keep up.
No, you were hauling.
Congratulations to the four of you. Well done.
Well, out of 1 out of 10 for excitement, she's on about 14.
I was going to say she's well over 10, but that's great. No, really good for her. And it's quite good for their country knowing they can make a few changes and still have that strong performance.
So I think we're going live to New Zealand. So good evening, early morning to you. It looks like you can sleep safely tonight, knowing that your girls are really under pressure. They can perform.
They had a bit of a. Here we go, 0.3 of a difference.
So gold for New Zealand, silver for Poland, and Russia came through to take the bronze. And your Aussies are 2 seconds back. Is that
not
okay?
Not too bad. I mean, they'll obviously be disappointed after their great performance last week, but you had countries like Poland, Russia, and Germany who weren't here.
Plenty of time to absorb that afterwards. C1 men 500 meters, and Ezequiel dos Santos against Martin Fuchser, with some athletes maybe something else to say about it.
Yeah, Sebastian Brendel is definitely going to have a lot to say about this race after some of his results yesterday. He's obviously a guy that hates to lose in any kind of way, so it's going to be a really, really entertaining race right now. But there's a good shot of the Chinese athlete.
Speaking to Brendel yesterday afternoon, and he was completely relaxed. It's a bit like last year. He knows where his priorities are.
Yeah.
He's taking the positives away. He had a really slow start yesterday in the 1,000 meters, but he said he had an amazing second half.
Yeah, he always has an amazing second half. But his whole family's here, so there's a lot of support, including his brother-in-law, actually, Eric Loya, who's just the greatest guy ever, and they're all here to support him.
Thomas Katzel.
Yeah, that's a great shot at Thomas Katzel. He paddles extremely well with his hips, and he's a really, really powerful athlete. So the 500 might actually gear better for him than the 1,000. But it's going to be really stiff competition from the top of this race with Peter Kretschmer, Sebastian Brendel, Martin Fuchser, Ezequiel dos Santos. Like, it's just really,
go.
impressive.
So Sebastian Brendel
also has the sponsors down.
Eight gold medals in the Worlds, 3 Olympics, and obviously he's been the top. What's great about him is he's been top for many, many years. But Thomas Sima has also been there or thereabouts. I don't know how many finals he's made.
Very fast C1 200 paddler, and now he's just given a 500 a shot. So this is going to be an incredibly fast, intense, competitive race.
And Fuchser, who is definitely in his zone. A man of few words. Last week he did well.
Yep. Martin Fuchser and Dos Santos have both had the world records for the C1 500, so this is going to be an incredibly competitive race.
And even Stokolov is no slow man. He's often in the top 3 or 4.
Yep, very, very powerful C1 paddler. And Peter Kretschmer, who is within the nose of Sebastian Brendel at their German trials for the C1 500, and with his taped hand.
You're telling me, because he has ligament problems, he actually tapes his hand?
Yeah, he has a ligament that's gone now, actually, so he has to tape his hand up so he can hold onto that paddle with all the force of this race. And
Adrien Barr was looking really impressive in the last couple of days from France again.
Yeah, he's very, very strong this year. He's doing extremely well under the new program, I guess, and it's going very, very well for him, so that's great to see.
Essentially what we're saying is they're all top athletes.
Yeah, and It just switched to a righty's wind.
I was just going to say the wind's just picked up for us.
That's going to help Dos Santos and Fuchsa quite a lot, and it might actually hinder some of the lefties like Brendel and Peter Kretschmer.
Because you have to steer with the J-stroke. There's no mechanism under the boat.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there's Fuchsa's boat, and he won yesterday. And like you mentioned, he's been setting some blistering times. And he won with confidence. He said 200 meters out, he knew he was going to win yesterday.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're off.
Dos Santos and Fuchsa have gotten off with a really strong start.
And they're next to each other in the lane. They'll be conscious of each other, or will they not care?
It's probably too high of a rate for to be really looking around. But that middle of their race there, you've got Simmert, you've got Brendel, you've got Fuchsa, and Dos Santos. They're all right up in there. It looks like Simmert might actually be taking it out on everybody.
Well, he's been, like you mentioned, he's good at the fast sections.
Yeah.
But Fuchsa is looking in a good position as well.
Yeah.
This first 250 has to be fast, but it has to be in some terms reserved. But that reserve is very, very small. Looks like Peter Kretschmer just ran over a bunch of Canadian geese.
I was going to say, a little bit of wildlife on the course there.
Yeah.
But he's having a golden weekend, isn't he? He's doing really well.
Yeah, C2 is very strong. It looks like Sebastian Brendel might be second right now, which would be much farther ahead than he normally would be in his race. That could be a problem for everyone going into the finish. But Martin Fuchs is out with his great technique, his really long strokes, really pumping his legs super hard.
We certainly have a race on our hands coming into the last, less than 200 meters.
It's going to be one hit. Looks like Martin Fuchs has really pulled it away. He's just picked up his exit a little bit. His stroke rate's rising and rising and rising. He's probably going to build every 50 meters, but Brendel's really putting in a lot of power, as is Dos Santos. But Fuchs looks like he might be taking it out on everyone.
Ezequiel Dos Santos is coming back in lane number 5, so we have about 150 meters to go. It's really close.
Yeah, Dos Santos has an extremely high stroke rate in relation to everyone else, but Brendel just did another pickup at the 150, so he's coming in really strong, but Fuchs is holding everyone off.
Now coming into the last 30 meters, this is what we want to see. It's Martin Fuchs that has about a meter lead from Quiros Dos Santos, but Fuchs is going to take the wonderful double for the weekend. Quiros Dos Santos silver and Brendel third.
Looks like Peter Kretschmer might have gotten fourth as well. That was just an incredibly competitive, fast race. And Martin Fuchs is still not breathing hard. I don't know how he does this.
I don't know if he looks like he's been trying.
I think that 4 is for the C1s. 2 gold medals in second, 2 gold medals in Duisburg. That's really impressive for the beginning of the season. He should be very, very happy.
But he has often started his season really impressively.
Yeah, for sure. He's definitely, it seems to be quite a focus for him. Dos Santos had such a high stroke rate for that race. It was really hard to see him do that and maintain it throughout the whole race.
What I admire about him is after all the pressure leading up to Rio, or the fun afterwards, 1:46, Martin Fuchs takes the gold for the Czech Republic, Ezequiel Dos Santos takes the silver for Brazil, and Sebastian Brendel just edging out Peter Kretschmer, who takes the bronze for Germany.
Yeah, that was obviously a very, very fast race with this side wind. So if it had been a tailwind, they all top 2 spots probably would have broken world records again.
And do you think it's really blowing into our face? You said that goes against Sebastian Brendel.
And Peter, all the lefties, that's going to be a problem for them. But as you can see, Dos Santos and Fuchs are righties, and so they probably had a little bit less resistance. But that's not to take away from what they've done. They had a great race. But
this is great though, because it's mid, I suppose, Olympic coming into the business end of it. So it's going to be interesting to see how they develop in the next couple of years. With Brendel, you have the impression that it's no big deal. He's having a bit of fun.
Yeah, I don't know. He's got a lot going on right now, obviously. But you can never count him out at the end of the season. He's always going to be there.
Let's see a few words from Martin Fuchs. I think he's going to have 4 fingers in the air.
Yeah.
Looks almost a bit confused.
Martin Fuchs, your wonderful week continues. Another gold medal. Congratulations. How was that race for you?
Thank you. It's my 4th gold for 2 weeks, so I'm very happy and I'm glad for it. And congrats to Sebastian Izakiash again. Good race with these guys, and I love it.
Congratulations. Well done.
Thank you.
Well done for having the force to do an interview when you just cross the line.
Still not breathing hard. I don't know how he does it.
K4, 500 meters, and it's going to be interesting to see The Hungarians are looking good. French is obviously quite keen there, but the
German
Germans,
crew.
I think they're the ones that
Especially on
really
home ground, I think they're going to have a little bit behind them this morning, or this afternoon, sorry.
wanting something to prove.
The French crew, though, right up there.
That German boat, though, is just a atomic weapon.
Yeah.
And let's not forget the Canadians.
Yeah, they're a very strong crew as well. So the K2 in the front seat and the back seat of that boat, they got us a silver medal yesterday in the K2 500. The pretty fantastic finish, ended up in the water.
And Slovakia there. The Yuri La in the third position. He's 39 years old now.
Wow.
Never too old.
That's a lot of commitment to work.
There you go.
Some of the spectators.
Make sure your hair's right. That's good. It's a relaxed atmosphere, isn't it? There's
It
a
is
lot of
nice.
family, friends.
It's hard to be amped up when there's a beer garden right next to you, I guess.
The wind has switched directions because we can no longer smell the barbecue, which is quite cool.
Here's the French crew. It's a new uniform they've got.
I've been
this
going on
year.
about it so much.
Pretty interesting.
It is definitely out there. They're definitely getting the attention.
The thing is, you've got to be an athlete to manage to justify it, though.
You do, you really do. It's not a support staff one.
No.
A final. In lane 1, Canoe. Lane 2, Hungary.
So the Hungary crew.
They're very, very fast.
They got world champions for 200 metres, haven't they, in the middle of the boat?
I think they had the fastest time out of the heats as well.
And you're finding that you've got the 200-metre men popping in the K4, and you're really seeing the speed come through because it turns out to be such a short race. Oh, here we go, another little claim to Australia. You've got backseat Max, has trained in Adelaide a few times and joined the Aussies.
Well, he's pretty much Australian, isn't he, really?
Yeah.
We'll say so. And here we got the Russian crew.
Postrigay,
So see if they
Olympic
can
gold medalist as well.
continue their success from this morning.
Yeah, they've really taken 3 medals so far, haven't they? 3 golds.
The Germans really have that distinctive pink boat. I don't know how the boys feel about it, but
they're pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a tradition from the FES days in the 80s. They all had pink boats. So.
Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan, we saw them in the sea base doing really well. And the Japanese having a boat in here as well, which is good to see. And they've got very, very smart caps on.
They're all looking nice and uniform. Here we go. So nerves pretty high right now.
What do you reckon? 120?
Oh, and the wind is sort of
side wind.
Yeah.
It looks like it's a tailwind at the start, actually.
You've got the left-hand flag sort of going, but the right-hand ones are.
That's a good thing about working with you athletes. You know exactly what to look for.
Yeah.
Within half a second, you've
as soon as I
analysed
get
the
on
whole
the course,
situation.
I have a look.
Anyway, here we are, 500 metres. So it's changed from 1,000 before. It's an Olympic event, 500 metres.
You look at that view, and there's so many athletes. You think about everyone taking their strokes.
And
There we
they
go.
are off with the Germans, off to a good start.
It's a very even start through those middle, but you've got the German crew and the Hungarian crew, is it?
Yep.
Very strong.
If you don't know the game, it's quite difficult because apart from Germany, they all have the same boats.
Yeah.
But the geese are saying we can fly faster than you, whatever you do.
Yeah, so you've got the Hungarian crew and the German crew up in the lead, but you've also got there in lane 2.
Well, they're the Ren Schmidt who won the K1 yesterday. Ronnie Rouse still going strong.
So you find in this K4 men's race that you sort of really don't have time to settle in there. They're really pulling each stroke nice and strong. That French group looking really good from the front. You can hardly tell there are 4 people there.
Ren Schmidt's really looking to keep the crowd happy. All these guys have been in action over the weekend.
Here comes the pickup at the 150 for the German crew.
Yeah, Hungarians though putting it to them and really making them work for this race.
Well, this is the biggest nose we've seen so far of the weekend, and it's still very close with about 70 metres to go. It looks like the Germans are just going to head off the Hungarians. Great victory for Germany. But the Russians going to take the third.
Very impressive race, and the home crowd will love it.
Well, that's the ideal way to end a international regatta, by having the local team perform at the top of their abilities.
Definitely. The Hungarians definitely took it to them towards the end, but
We're hardly panting.
the back seat always looks like a drowned rat. They almost need a snorkel back there.
It's so impressive to have that much movement in the middle of a race in a K4 race. The speed's so high and the boats are so heavy. To actually make a jump on another K4 is so hard.
Well, now it's time. I think we're going to see the beer garden fill up. And why not? That's great racing. So good, fair conditions, I think, largely.
I would definitely, call it a fair race. No world records today, but some definitely impressive performances.
And everyone, just hot dogs are all going around.
Bratwurst.
So Ian, what's your tactic? How long do you have before your C1 5000 race?
I've got a couple hours. I'm probably going to go get lunch and then hang out for a little bit and then go race.
Well, we wish you all the luck, and thank you so much for coming to join us today. And here we go, Germany, 1:19, good time on the day. Take the gold from Hungary, from Russia. So it's leading up to, there was some skepticism when it was first introduced, but it seems to be a really complicated equation of which how many sprinters you put in. Do you get the 1,000 guys in? Or you have a Tom Liebischer who's pretty good at both.
Yeah.
Are they all going to come out at the same time? Who's going to talk on? Was it Ronnie Rao? I think he was in Milan in 1999 in the world.
Yeah, he's been very, very elite for a long time. He's impressive paddler.
Okay, you can go now. Thank you.
And the fact they've all had their families and friends here, I wonder if that makes it easier or more difficult. Probably both.
I think it's a nice mix of being relaxed and able to hang out with your family when you're not racing, but then also really wanting to
what a great win
well
for the German K4 boys,
Sorry.
back together this week and showing us how to paddle the perfect race. Max Lemke, I'm going to ask you a question. How good was it to be back together in the boat and to get out there in front of the German crowd and show them what you can do?
It was fun to be back in the K4. We didn't have much time to train, so it was good for us to get some experience again this year. And it was fun to race in front of the home crowd.
Well, congratulations. Enjoy the moment.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'd give you honorary Australian status there.
Yeah, we'll definitely take it.
So there's the power off the line here.
Yeah, getting that boat moving. I mean, you've got hundreds of kilos that is still, and you've got to get it up to top speed as quick as possible, and then you've got to run that speed. And that's what the Germans do so well. They've connected as a crew, and they're just all putting the force in the same direction to make that boat move fast.
So, Katz, your debut on commentating, what you take away from this weekend?
That I'll definitely stick to the water.
No, we really enjoyed having your presence. And Ian, what about your takeaways of the some of the times was scintillating amazing yesterday?
Yeah, Martin Fuchs was just incredible both weekends out here for the World Cups. I can't imagine what it's going to be like at Worlds this year. It's just going to be so competitive.
Well, thank you both for coming in. What we'll just do now is say, everyone, we've really enjoyed you watching, listening. You can follow us on social media, and it is goodbye for now. Remember, from us, follow the Europeans and the world. Planet Canoe is where the social media and the comments are. Thank you. Goodbye.
Medaillen werden überreicht durch Herrn Thomas Kongitzko, Vizepräsident der Internationalen Kanu-Föderation. Er wird begleitet von Herrn Martin Doktor, Teamleader des tschechischen Teams. The silver medalist, representing Brazil,